Today I'm here to tell you all about Pat Tillman, football player, intellectual, soldier, true American patriot. I recently read this book, Where Men Win Glory by John Krakauer, which is about Pat Tillman's life and death. And I was so inspired that I actually switched the initial topic of this speech to make my speech about this story, which I will now share with you all. So, for starters, Pat Tillman, the football player, he's a remarkable athlete. He was known for his aggressive, hard-hitting style of play. In spite of being only 5'6", he led his high school, Leland High, to state championships. He then got a full ride for football to ASU, where he won the Pac-10 2000 Defensive Lineman of the Year award. He then went on to be drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. In addition to his remarkable athletic abilities, Pat Tillman was an extraordinary intellectual. He absorbed a great amount of literature. He kept journals of his thoughts on the world, on thinkers. He frequently would engage in intense intellectual discussions with anyone, his professors, his coaches, his friends, and this prompted some of those who knew him to refer to him as a surfer dude Socrates for his laid-back nature as well as his intellectual prowess. He also graduated from ASU in just 3.5 years with a 3.85 GPA while playing football for them. In addition to these remarkable qualities, Tillman was instilled with this deep sense of duty to his fellow man and to his country. So it was no surprise to anyone who knew him when, after the events of September 11, 2001, Pat Tillman decided to enlist in the U.S. Army. Tillman and his brother Kevin were enlisted May 20th, 2002, and they were then deployed to Iraq. Now, Tillman had a problem with this because he signed up in the Army to go to Afghanistan and fight Al-Qaeda. And he did not really believe that the war in Iraq was justified. But just to give you, again, a sense of his overall character, he wrote in his journal that, quote, "If Kevin and I must fight, we will fight as hard as anyone ever has. We will not question the reasons for our being here or allow our personal beliefs to interfere with our jobs." However, he went on to say, "I hope this war is about more than money, oil, and power. I doubt that it is." In addition to this, Tillman knew that because he was an NFL player prior to going into the Army, that he was very famous, and the Bush administration was constantly trying to get him to be their poster boy. He refused to do any interviews or anything like that, but he expressed constant worry to his friends that if anything would happen to him, that he would be basically paraded through the streets as a martyr. And unfortunately, this is exactly what happened to him. On April 22nd, 2004, Pat's platoon was ambushed while deployed in Afghanistan. And the Army immediately issued this heroic narrative saying that Pat Tillman had been killed in the line of enemy fire protecting his platoon. He was nominated for the Silver Star, and he was buried a national hero. Unfortunately, this story was completely false. Tillman was killed by friendly fire, in part as a result of gross negligence by some of his superior officers. But the Army, for whatever reason, covered this up and issued this false claim. In fact, the initial investigation launched into Pat's death, which stated friendly fire as his cause of death, and also cited possible even criminal conduct by his commanding officers, simply disappeared. It was also later proven that some of the Silver Star commendations written by Pat's fellow Rangers were either grossly doctored or in some cases completely fabricated. It wasn't until 5 weeks after his death that the truth was finally revealed to Pat's family. And obviously, they were furious. They pleaded with Congress to launch investigations. However, 8 years and 7 separate investigations later, the only result of any of this has been a few minor demerits and then a blanket denial by the Army that they had done anything wrong at all. They just claimed that there were miscommunications throughout the whole process, and they've changed their story many times. It's a really horrible end to such a great American life. But While this should serve as a cautionary tale to all of us about the horrors and corruptions of war, which I think we so often don't even take into account, this should not taint Tillman's legacy. He was a true hero and patriot who gave up a comfortable lifestyle to fight for a cause that he believed in. And I think that any of us, regardless of our political beliefs, upon hearing this story about this man's life, could not help but be inspired. And I strongly encourage you all to read this book and learn more about this person. Thank you very much.